Hey everybody, it's Susie. Welcome back to my craft room. Okay, what have I been up to? No good, probably, but anyway. Um, okay, what I have done is, I have no clue why I did that. Oh, yes, I do. Okay. Yes, I did manage to reback these, and I do have them cut out. And I did want to show y'all something. I'm sure that I'm late to the party showing you just in case there's somebody who doesn't know. I've cut these pieces out, and obviously they're not perfect. I did not get right back down in the crevices, and some of my little rounded pieces ended up being more like triangular pieces. So how I fix that is I come in here with one of these little buffer nail files. You can get like a cheapy one at the dollar store or whatever. But where that's sticking up a little bit, I can come in here. Now, because I have the silver paint, I definitely don't want to go from the front, but I do want to go, from the back a little bit. And what that did was it just took that extra bit of scrappy paper off, and I can kind of work my way around and just look and see where I didn't get, the paper cut exactly right. And it just kind of takes it right off. And so actually that piece now looks pretty good. And so I can do the same thing with kind of like these pieces that ended up getting like little points to them when they weren't supposed to have little points. Of course, I don't think anybody's going to be looking that closely to see if my pieces have little points on them or not. But, I know, and I just kind of want to fix it a little bit. I'm not a perfectionist, obviously, but, So, that looks a little bit better, I think. Okay, and so that's what I will do with any of the pieces, that didn't cut out quite right. So I did want to show you that. Okay, now, that is for the, Very Feminine journal. Okay, so what I've done is this is going to be in here like this, and I'll punch holes in it. So this is actually going to make us another page. And so I took a piece of white paper, like we used, to make the backs, to cover the backs of our pieces with. Okay, but what I did was I took just a regular piece of white paper. I made another one of those edge pieces to reinforce it so that when we punch the holes, it won't pull out real easy. Now, I did not want, obviously, this on the front. So, I glued it to the back side of my decorative paper, and then, I put this piece of paper on, and then I put it on this side of this page because, this is what it looks like on all the other pages that are white. So I didn't, of course, mind that being there. So, I wanted to show y'all that. So what I'm going to do is, since I've sewn my pieces, is I'm going to open this up, and I will come around here with my, well, actually, I'm going to close that up because I don't need to sew that stuff. So I'm going to come around here and not sew the top, because this is going to be a pocket. Now, I did also turn my edges over. So this is my decorative sheet, and I turned my edges over and glued that down to reinforce this, because otherwise when you, put stuff in and out, it'll tear your paper, because this is not double thickness. All right, so I'm going to sew down here, I'm going to sew across here, and I'm going to sew here. I'm going to punch my holes, and that is going to go right into this journal like another page. Okay, but it'll be a pocket so that we can put, maybe some writing papers or something like that in there. So that's my plan for that. I may make one more like this, and then I want to take some of these decorative sheets, and I do want to go ahead and fold those up, and make some writing papers, maybe to put in this pocket, to, put under some of the pieces, that I had planned, just, once these are folded up, say like this, and this is, I would glue that down at the very top and leave, the bottom open, and then I could stick, maybe a couple of writing papers under that, so that would be more journaling space. So that's what my plans are for some of these pages. So, like I said, I'm probably going to make one more like this. I don't know that I want to add too many more pages, because, this is getting kind of bulky. Of course, if I keep these rings, if I keep using these big ones, I could, really add quite a bit more pages. But I'm going to show you, I put smaller rings in the other one. I'm going to show you what that kind of looks like right now. But that's where I'm headed in this direction. So if y'all are following along and you want to kind of do the same thing, again, let me kind of explain this, you know, because I might have gone a little bit fast. I took a page like this, and I'm going to actually fold one, so let me pick one. Okay, I took a page like this, and I folded the edge over. That's why I left this open too, was because I do want to stitch down this, because all I did was use the glue stick, and I don't trust glue sticks like some people. So that's why I left it open, because I do not want to sew this flat together. So I will sew around this edge, and I will sew down this edge, and then I'll put it together, you know, and sew around the other three sides. Okay, so I did turn this under. And then on the piece of white paper that I used, and that's not the right size, I also, and this doesn't have to be exact because, you know, it just doesn't. But anyway, you know, so I folded this edge like that. And so now I'm going to glue this, and I'm going to glue this. And then I'm going to take another piece, and obviously this was the piece I used because it's more narrow, and I'm just going to cut a 1-inch strip. Doesn't have to be exact, but, you know, it's kind of, sort of. I need to replace my little cutting mat, don't I? This is one of those that you get 2 packs of these little cutting mats for $1 at Dollar Tree. I'm so heavy-handed that I just cut right through it all the time. But I've had these quite a while, so and normally I don't use this big of a blade. I have a smaller one that I got like at Dollar Tree. You know, it's got a smaller blade, and for some reason with this one I seem to be more heavy-handed. Maybe because it's bigger in my hand. I don't know, but whatever the reason, I do. And so I cut right through my mats. And I do have a new cutting mat that I'm going to be putting down. And yay, I have been cleaning off my craft table. It's looking so good. I'm even cleaning off some shelves. I took some of the bins that I had like starts of projects or pieces left over from projects. And I just thought I had 1 or 2, you know, that I kind of needed to go through and figure out, you know, what I wanted. Oh no, I've done like 10 or 11 bins now. I took them in the living room, and I have piles scattered all over the floor, things that need to be put up. I'm like out of control. It's like, oh no, you did not. Okay, so before I get confused and end up gluing this to the wrong one of these, I do want to go ahead and kind of glue this down. And like I said, I will sew this, you know, because I'm not going to depend on the glue stick to last forever. I know some people love glue sticks. I don't care what brand I've tried. I'm just not a huge fan of glue sticks. I hope that more y'all have had success with them than I have, and maybe some of y'all trust them, but, you know, I guess I'm just kind of old school when it comes to the glue sticks. I just want to kind of hold those up and make sure that this white page is not going to stick out much more than this page or vice versa, and it kind of does, especially on this end. So I do want to kind of take this and even it up down here just a little bit, just so, you know, once I have it down, you know, it's not going to be an obvious stick up. All right, so then I take this piece. Don't y'all glue together yet? And then I open it up, and on the back of the decorative page, okay, I want to glue this side down on here. I hope that makes sense. Oh my goodness, I didn't wash my little brush out. Go ahead and shoot me. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to take the lid off. It's already off. Is it going to be one of those days, y'all? By the way, wanted to let y'all know I'm feeling much better today. You know, I had a really, really tough week last week. You know, some more health issues, some were, you know, some other things that had happened, and then, of course, the bad news that I got. But, you know, that's all been taken care of. It's turned over to the Lord. He's got it under control, so I'm not worrying about that anymore. Okay, so that is glued down to this. Now, so it looks like the other ones where, you know, on the white side, you can actually see the lip that we folded over. So, and I want this at the top, and this where I glued it down on the inside. I mean, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to decorate this edge, so it really doesn't matter if it's on the inside or outside, but just because I put that one on the inside, I'm going to put this one on the inside. But if you don't, it's not that big a deal. I mean, you know, it's not. You can cover it up or whatever. So, and also when I put maybe a piece of ribbon or lace or something along that edge, it will also give it a little more reinforcement. All right, back to this. So I'm going to put this paper down like this. And if your glue stick's not dry good or your glue, you probably want to wait before you put this down or you're going to end up gluing your page together. Just a thought. Okay, so now this is where I'm really going to see if my white paper is off too much. And it still kind of is, so I do want to take just a hair more off of that. Yeah, we know this ain't going to come out good since my eyes are crooked and I can't see the cut straight, I guess. Yeah, I've been cleaning off my shelves, especially the ones right next to me, you know, because I'm trying to put the stuff I use the most right around me. And since I've got the embossing machine and haven't had a chance to play with it yet, and that's tragic, I want to put that here because I believe that is something that I'm going to use a lot. And I can't wait to get with Cynthia, and she's going to kind of help me. No, I mean, she's not in the same state, but we'll, you know, talk through the phone or whatever. And she's going to help me to figure out my stupidity. But anyway, all right, so I have that about right so that when this closes up, the white part's not going to stick up above the other. All right, so I want to glue the inside of this little lip. I still don't have enough glue on it. All right. And I'm going to place this page, making sure that, you know, this little piece is, you know, out instead of down here getting glued down. Not that it would be, you know, that big of a problem because you just fix it. All right. Now, I'm not going to fold this up in half right now because otherwise my page might stick together. So I'm just going to let that dry. But that'll be the second one of those, and that's probably all that I'm going to put in that. I mean, we could always change our mind later, you know. And it's not that serious if I want to add more. Okay, so I'll open that up, let it dry. This one's already dry. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna fold up some pages to, you know, use as writing papers. And I'm not gonna stitch around these. This is just a single thickness piece of copy paper. And if I try to, you know, stitch around it, sometimes it almost kind of perforates the paper a little bit. And I don't know, it looks good, but I think it kind of makes it weak. I could go over it with a little bit of glue to, you know, make sure it holds. I didn't have that folded very nicely, so it was kind of sticking up and out here and there. So, all right, so I'll take more time to fold it better. So that's what I'll use for like some writing papers. So that's what I've been up to here. I haven't punched the holes yet in these because I wanted to show y'all how I took the little file thing and kind of fix, you know, when my edges look a little bit off. But I am going to punch holes in these, whether I end up tying something or, you know, just placing a piece of ribbon as a pull or what. It doesn't matter. At least I'll have the little holes in them. The little one, I'm definitely going to put the clear fingernail polish on, or, you know, like I said before, you can use glossy accents, whichever you have. Maybe on this one, I want to look, you know, flip back through the book again, see if I need another one of these, you know, as a tuck somewhere. And this one definitely will be used for that purpose. But this one, if I don't need it in there, I will do some fingernail polish on it. And, yeah, have a hole in it, of course, and then use it as a dangly piece. Or a paper clip. You know, I could even, you know, use, you know, modify a paper clip. So that'll, you know, be a paper clip for an envelope or on a page or something. So I might do that. I might do that with this one as well. And use, you know, using a bigger paper clip than this one. So that might be what I do with those. Okay, so that's those pages that I wanted to show y'all before I get started. And no, I have not cut the fabric that I want to make pockets out of or that I want to cover the cover with because I can't decide still on the fabric. You know, I've had some input, different opinions from folks, and I appreciate that. And it seems like that most people can't decide either. They're kind of like me. Oh my God, it all kind of looks good. Or anyway. All right, now on this one, already had those stitched when I showed them to you the other day. Now these were the single thickness copy pages that I had, that I told you I was, you know, that have the journaling space on them, that I told y'all that, you know, I was just going to glue to pages. Well, I went ahead and did that, got those glued down, and they actually looked like they were sewn in. This was the one that looked kind of funky from the stitching, you know, my threads not being, the tension not being right. And I actually like that kind of shabby look. And I put enough glue around the edges to make sure that those strings are down. And so I've got these, and I believe there's 8 of them here. I think they turned out wonderfully. I'm really, really happy with these. Okay, now, the other thing that I did was I wanted to show y'all that, oh, yeah, okay, I'll show you. All right, here's the smaller rings. I still have the big ones and the other one to show you what that looked like. Here's what the smaller size rings look like, and right now I think it looks really good. But keep in mind, we don't have any embellishments in here whatsoever. So by the time I add these 8 pages in here, that's going to bulk it up a little bit, and we'll see. Then when I start putting pockets and journaling cards, that's going to bulk it up. So we'll see if we're able to get by with these or if we have to go to a bigger ring. Now these are some envelopes that I wanted to show you that I made. And I'm going to show you how to do it and how not to do it, because I do have my mistake here as well. All right. First, I pulled out this, and I grabbed this little piece off as my template for my holes, right? And I cut my holes. Well, then it dawned on me, these pages are longer than the pages on this one. So that made my holes off. So then I had to go back and make a new template for this particular one. And so now I have holes in the wrong place. All right, so should I trash that? People probably would, but guess what? I'm not. I have a couple of options. I can cut this off, glue that edge, and, you know, of course, I'm going to sew around this as well. But, you know, I would sew there, and then, you know, come up and reinforce that, you know, and have place for my holes. And this is double thickness, so when it's folded in half like that, it would be basically 4 pages thick, so that would be enough reinforcement. So I wouldn't have to put, you know, another reinforcement piece in here, which would be great. So I could cut that off, glue that edge, and then sew, you know, I would open this up, because this is my envelope, and sew, you know, all the way around the edges. But, and I might still do it. Right now, I'm thinking I won't. What I'm thinking was, yeah, that's an accident. Didn't mean to have those holes in the wrong places. But what if I take my hole punch, look there. How does that look? I think it looks pretty cute. And then you wouldn't know that I made a mistake by putting my holes in the wrong place. And it looks like I did that intentionally. And I think that looks all right. So, I think I'm going to leave that because I really like it. Now, all I did with this is one of the papers, the decorative papers that I had backed with the coffee dyed paper. So it is the double thickness. And I used that because, you know, it's going to be an envelope and I want it to hold up pretty good. So now that I have this envelope, I thought all I did was folded this up about, you know, what, 3/4 of the way. I left a gap here because I want to be able to easily get stuff in and out. Now, if I want to, obviously I could take my little circle punch and go in here just about at the middle and, you know, make a half circle to have a thumb hole. So I could do that. I could also round off 2 of my corners, you know, all 4 of my corners, you know, whatever. It doesn't make any difference to me. on this particular one, you know, because it's more masculine, I guess, I'm not going to round them off. No particular reason why, I'm just not. So, but what I did think I would do is take something like, not necessarily this isn't the right color, but something like this, and not this big, and put here to make it a closure so that, well, that's kind of sticky, to make a closure so then you could open and then, you know, tuck that back under, and that would hold that flap closed. And I'm going to get to this pile in a minute. So this was what I did here. So this will, let me go back to this again. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this flap but leave this one closed. And I'm going to sew all the way around that. Okay? Then I want to come here and I want to sew, now this is where my fold is for the envelope flap. And then I want to sew a line down here and then back up this way so that my stitch marks will also be here and here, but I don't want to stitch with that folded closed or I'm going to stitch my flap. I don't want to do that. So that's how I'm going to do that. So I did want to show you how I folded that, the mistake I made, my thoughts on fixing it, which I think turned out really cute. If y'all hate it, just tell me and I'll do something different. I'll cut it off and glue it. All right. So then I thought, oh, you know what? These great big huge cards that are really too big to put on here unless we put them this way or this way and made a pocket, which I'm not opposed to doing that. You know, maybe on one or two, you know, to have a tuck like that when you open it up. So I'm not opposed, and I probably will do that with, you know, one or two. But I thought these would make great little journaling cards to fit in these envelopes. And it does. That fits perfectly. It looks great. However, I had to be careful that, and so now here becomes a problem. If I cut this off and glue it, what this does is I lose that much more room to stick my card in. Right now, we'll say that I lose that much room. So I can get that in and still have enough room for my envelope to close. That was kind of tricky to make sure that I did that. As a matter of fact, I messed a page up because I didn't check it good enough. So I want to be real careful that I don't sew this too far up above these holes or I'm going to lose my, or I probably won't even sew up here. I'll probably just sew here. Anyway, it will fit. It absolutely fits, however I decide to do it. It fits. I made sure that it was going to fit, so that works. And I may put one in here. I may put two, since these are so thick, probably just the one. You know, we could add some writing papers in here if we wanted to for more journaling space. So I love the way that that is looking, and it will look once, you know, I get it stitched. And then that'll go right into our book. And it will look really cute. So, no, it is not the same size as these pages, and I don't want it to be. This one is, you know, not meant to be like perfection. It's meant to be more on the shabby side. So, you know, I don't want all even pages necessarily. And so when you're flipping through, you know, and of course we don't have these embellished yet, but once we do, you know, we have our pages, and we get over here. And what that did is I didn't glue it down on a page, so that didn't take up one of our journaling pages. So now we have this separate envelope, and obviously I can decorate this up, I can decorate this, I can decorate the flap, you know, whatever I want to do. Or I don't have to do anything, you know, just whatever, it's just there. So I want to add at least one more, maybe two. You know, remember I'm going to be adding these 8 pages too, so I may want to add more than just 2 of these. Just for some different dimensions within the journal. All right, this was another one that I made. And this page is even shorter, I think. Oh, it's not, it's the same size. Okay. Anyway, for some reason I cut this off to use it somewhere else, and I decided not to. So I'm going to have to go back and stitch that edge. All right, but this is going to be the same principle, but look how far up I folded this one. I folded this one way up. Way up. Now, what that made this happen is this would get lost in here. That's why I cut it. This would get lost down in here. And even if I cut the half circle out, it would be very difficult to get that out, you know, because it's kind of far down in there. Maybe if I sewed it, crease right there. maybe I could still use that. Okay. Anyway, my thoughts were I will trim these down. And then I would stick them in there this way. And I made sure when I folded this one that I allowed for the flap to be able to close. And again, I'm thinking about putting something here as a closure. So, you know, because I don't want the envelope flap just being left up. I could, you know, use a little magnet or a piece of Velcro, but I don't want to. But this is my thoughts on that, was to put a card. And again, these are really thick because I did them on that packaging. And so I'm probably only going to put one in there. Maybe add writing papers, you know, a couple of thin writing papers. But I think 2 of these is going to be too much. So I do plan at least to make one more at least to put another one of these cards in. So that's what I've done and figured out on this one. So that's where we are, y'all, and things are looking good and feeling good, and I'm really, really excited. So tomorrow, y'all are really going to see things start being put in place, coming together. We're going to be, like, on the downhill side of getting these finished up. Now, what I did do is I went through some of my fussy cuts and was looking for some more masculine pieces that I could use for embellishments. Of course, we still have these and these. And these. Boy, did I ever get those mixed up or what? Okay. Now, I think this is a really cool clock. It's neither masculine or feminine. That would look nice. I found these little corner pieces, you know, that I could use. You know, maybe on 2 of the corners to kind of dress them up. I wouldn't use the pink ones necessarily, but, I mean, there is some pieces that have a little pink tint to them, and I suppose I could. But these I'm the ones most interested in. So I may use those. Maybe even on the front or back cover. You know, I think that would look nice. Here was a little clock that I found that I thought would be cute. Maybe on a page. Of course, ink that up a little bit. Make it look a little more vintage. This was a page out of a magazine. You know, that's neither masculine or feminine. Actually, I would think it was more on the masculine than the feminine side. I could even cut that down a little more. Ink around it. You know, grunge it up. Y'all could cover it with a tea bag to take, you know, some of that brightness down. So that's a possibility. This was just a latch that was like on a cabinet that I cut out of a magazine, and I thought that was really cool. So I may use that. I may even put that on the front cover to make it look like the journal has a latch. I don't know. You know, we can play with it. Then I found this little guitar piece. Now it's got like a raised piece, and I won't use that. I'll obviously take this apart, you know, and just use the one piece. But I thought even that would look cute on a page. Then I've got some of these little number doohickeys. I think I've got a few of those that I pulled out. I don't see it. Oh, here's another one. So just, you know, those might even be cute. I could even use those on, you know, one of the envelope things. You know, just something. There's plenty of options to do with them. Okay. Then I found some of these steampunk kind of pieces, and I definitely don't want this to be steampunk. Oh, here's another one of those, like, this is not a bullet. It really isn't. This was a piece of machinery, but, you know, that is definitely more masculine. It's not feminine. How about that? So I like that piece on there. And this was another piece that I had cut off of that same magazine page that was kind of cool. And this was, I think, a drawer or something that was a part of that piece. So I like that. And then I found a bunch of these little clocks that, you know, I could use various places throughout the journal. And this is another kind of steampunk looking thing. I'm not crazy about this color, but when you look at it with some of the other papers, you know, it kind of matches a little bit better. So this is a maybe. Now these, there might be a couple more. These are all stamps in my stash. And I actually had stamped on here for the sole purpose of later on when I go to use it, that I could tear these out. Because I do not want these cut. I want them to, you know, look like they were torn out. And of course I will end up inking, you know, around this. And since this is already on coffee dyed paper, you know, that already looks great. And of course I would ink the edges up, but how cute is that? And since, you know, some of the things in this journal are cars, I don't know that I want to use the jet black ink. I might go with the vintage photo, see how that looks. I do have some other brown inks, I think. If not, I'll make one. But I think these would be absolutely adorable on here. And here's another one. You know, again, I would just tear it around that. You know, use it somewhere on a page. This is another stamp that I have. Once again, you know, I would just tear that out. And I'm going to say that these numbers might be too long to leave like they are. And that's okay with me. I don't care. Because there's always something to it. See, I just tore part of that 0 off. All right. Too big. I don't really run in that way. I probably could use it on one of the envelopes. Maybe. Or I could just tear it in half and use a piece on here and a piece on another page. So there's lots of possibilities. Found this pair of boots. And again, these are some of those that have, you know, like the sticky up stuff in them. I don't want them to stick up. But I could probably take these apart. Yep, and save in that bottom. And that's actually a pair. Wouldn't that look adorable on one of those corners? And there's a little piece of white here. If I can't get that off, I know how to cover that up. Or ink would work. Now this is just kind of a single boot, but I don't think that looks bad. I just need to pull these sticky parts off, and it would look cute somewhere else. So that's a possibility. Here's another one of those little steampunk pieces that I found. And it's really thick. It's not chipboard. It's foamy, and it does stick up a little bit. And you know, I'm not crazy about that idea, but it's not so thick that I would just absolutely wouldn't use it. And I think those would be really cute. And again, I don't want this whole thing to be steampunk, but I did think some of these pieces would be cute. You know, they're more masculine, and so, you know, I'm thinking that some of these would be great. So those were some of the pieces that I found that I wanted to show you I found. All right, that are possibilities. And this is, this either came from one of the Graphics Fairies free printable, or, oh my goodness, my mind just went blank. Who's the other one we use all the time, y'all, to get like free printables that has the beautiful vintage looking stuff? Anyway, so this would look great on a page. It leaves some journaling space, or I can tear that off, you know, and just have that kind of like as an ad. This one I probably won't use, but, you know, it's not really feminine, you know, so it's a possibility. Probably more of a no. This is an ad for an old piano, which would be gorgeous on here, you know. It does have a little bit of feminine texture, but not so much that it's like, oh my God, no, that's too girly. And if I got it put down and I don't like it, guess what? I've got plenty of stuff I can cover it up with, right? Or I can just tear around it and get rid of it. So, plenty of opportunities. All right, and then I ran across this little piece. I guess that it had torn. It was really old. It's like a Jamaican, from a Jamaican cigar box or something. It's an old vintage piece. And although there's not many greens in here, I don't know that I would want to ink this down much more because I really like that vintage look. But if I do find a piece that has more greens, that is a definite maybe. Otherwise, it'll go back in the stack. Here's an old typewriter ad. Again, not masculine or feminine, just there. And I really like that. Again, if I don't want the whole thing, I can tear it off and just use the typewriter part, or I can just use the ad part. Another thing, I may add some book page pockets to this. I really like book page pockets. I think book page looks awesome. And now with all this stuff to decorate with, I think that would be great. This came out of a book that I was tearing apart, you know, to use for book pages. And I like this, so I don't like it this bright, so I would either ink this or cover it with a tea bag, you know, something to take the color down just a little bit. But that is a definite maybe, especially with the, you know, it's a map, you know, and the car theme and all that. I found this big old planner. If I wanted to use it, it would actually look good, you know, maybe on one of these pockets or envelopes, whatever. So that is a definite maybe. I found these little clear key stickers in my stash. I thought would be really, really cute. I have some more keys somewhere. I just don't know where. We'll run across them. This was a little table that I had cut out of a magazine. And it might be cute somewhere. You know, this is probably going to be too big, but you know, a bottle of wine sitting on the table. Like I said, that bottle's probably a little bit too big, but I think I did pull some other bottles out. And I'm not a drinker, and I usually don't save stuff too much like that, but anyway, that's still too big, but I could, you know, cut that off. You know, it would still look a little bit big, but, you know, it would work. So those are possibilities. That came out of somebody else's kit, so I won't use it. This was a car piece. It's like a die-cut car piece. And no, I don't think I would use that like that. But I would certainly ink that up and use it like that. You know, and that might even be, well, not on this envelope. Where'd the other one go? Well, if it's a little bit small, well, I could even cut that windshield off. That might be even cute on the flap, you know. So it's a definite possibility. Here's some bigger, like a set of wine bottles. I would probably, you know, trim that down right there. Why I didn't, I don't know. That might look good on a page. Here's, you know, some more wine bottles that are possibilities. This is another one of those pieces that came off of, like, that magazine with the latch thing. So, I like that. Here's a tie. That looks quite good. There's obviously some reds in this. I might need to take some gesso and knock that red down just a little bit, but I really like the tie. So, that's probably going to be incorporated. This is one of those ottoman things. And although this is kind of pink, I do know how to ink that up, and I could, you know, grunge that up and make it look good if I really want to use it. This is probably a no, but it's there. And then I have a little bow tie that I thought would be cute somewhere. Maybe even on the closure of that other, no, but I think that's going to be too small. Oh, but you know what? I could use it for a closure like that, couldn't I? Definitely something to think about. Okay. And then here's another little ad, you know, that I found, a piece that I had cut off at some point. This was an old washing machine. Isn't that cool? So, you know, if I have a page that I just want to put something on, you know, I could add that. I think it's too big to go that way, but... Oh, I could use it like that. Cut that off. That would look good. Okay. Oh, and here's some more locks and keys that I think would look good. I do have some actual metal pieces. I believe they were Tim Holtz pieces that I found in the little clearance bin at Joann's. You know how they take stuff and just throw it back there? Yeah, well, that was one of those. All right. Now, I want to show you this. This is just a light fixture, you know, like would hang outside somebody's house. As a matter of fact, that's a door. I think it's pretty cool. And I could ink that up, or I could cover it with tea bag. And I do want to show you, same magazine, you know, different page, but this was another lamp that hung on the wall, and this one is covered with a tea bag. So you can see it took the brightness of that down to that. So I really like that. So that is definitely a possibility. Here's an old camera ad showing this whole camera for $6.95. Is that crazy? Anyway, that would be cute on something. And then this is one of those stamps that I was telling you about I had. This had already been put on chipboard, and I had Fussy cut it out, and that would look so cute, you know, somewhere. So I'll probably end up using that. Another one of those steampunk pieces. I have various types of little pocket watches, clocks. I think I showed y'all these, and I got these. I actually have this stamp, so I could make as many of those as I wanted to. I found a little hat. I thought the hat would be cute. And recently, Gi Kerr, if y'all been keeping up with that, she's been doing some origami folds, and you know, with the women's dresses and stuff. She also made like a man's shirt. I may incorporate that in here, you know, especially since I have the hat and the boots and all that. So we'll see. And then I found this little clippy, you know, thing. Don't know that I would use it, but it might be cute for something. So it's pulled out. Here's a little guitar, and this one has those little, you know, hold-up pieces. And I could pull this apart and use this guitar, you know, in more than one place if I wanted to. Or I may not use it at all. Here's another little key that I found. And another one. Well. And another one. Oh, yeah. And then here's some key stamps that I have. I could tear around, or I could just take the stamps and, you know, actually stamp on the pages. So, you know. And then here's one of those pillar things. How does that go, y'all? I guess it goes like that. And then now that might be cute if I maybe cut one or two of these out and set them up there as a, I don't know. Let's see. Might not use it at all. And this is a picture. This is an Irish prayer. And I thought that would be really pretty, you know, on one of these pages. And then this is the Serenity Prayer. And I thought that would be nice on some pages. You know, if people, you know, didn't like it, it's not like they can't cover it up. You know, if they're not a spiritual kind of person. And then I just have some more little bottles of wine that might use, might not. I tend not to use any wine or beer, things like that, you know, in my journals. However, I do use the old, you know, cigarette card inserts, you know, but people don't even know that's what they are, you know. This is a mustache that was a die cut that was part of some kind of little pack, you know, that you buy. Of course, I wouldn't use the pink, but I would certainly ink that up, maybe even, you know, paint it black, and that would be cute on a little page somewhere. And here's another little picture, you know, kind of a lonely street. Now, this was only a couple of envelopes. I'm probably not going to go through any more because I think I have more than enough to play with here. But these are some of the ideas. Of course, I still have my string and my threads that I've kept, and I will be sewing some more, so I'm going to have a little bit more fibers, you know, and of course, I can use these, you know, like this, and it doesn't make it girly, you know. There's lots of things that we can do. Oh, and I'm also going to incorporate in, I think, some burlap into this. Definitely not that wide of a piece, but you know, I could cut that in half and use some burlap for little pockets and things, which would, I think, be absolutely adorable in here. I would not use the burlap with the lace. That probably wouldn't look good. I have some jute twine that I can use. Might even make a closure with the jute twine. You know, we have all kind of possibilities. So I wanted to show you where we're headed with this. So if you're following along, go ahead and make you up some envelopes, you know, for both of your, and I did not make envelopes specifically for this one. Instead, I was using the open tucks. Remember that I showed you a minute ago? So, you know, if y'all want to make some of those, go ahead and make those. If you want to make the envelope pieces, you know, go ahead and make those. If you're like me and you printed this full size and your cards are just kind of big, you may want to cut them down, or, you know, if you're going to use them like this, you know, that's absolutely fine as well. If you have them on this thicker packaging, you probably don't want to use more than one in an envelope, but go ahead and get your pieces ready. These pieces like this, you know, this would be perfect to go in like one of those little burlap pockets, you know. And if I punch a hole, then I could use like the jute twine, you know, as the pull on these. So I think that would look nice. So whatever you want to do to prepare your pieces to get ready, because tomorrow, these are going together. I mean, we may not finish, but they are going together tomorrow. We will be putting our pieces in place. Once we get our pieces in place, then we will do a flip through and see if we need to add something. This is actually going to be the very first journals that y'all will see me completely decorate on camera. And the reason for that is not that I don't want you to see the process, but there's some things like inking pages, inking edges, that I just don't think y'all need to have to watch me do. Now, we'll say another mistake I made, and probably nobody would have noticed had I not pointed it out. Before I glued these pages down, I did not ink around them. And I should have, but, and here's why I ended up forgetting to do it. When I first picked up the pages, this is just the single layer copy paper, and I went to ink around them, and they end up tearing, and they're a pain to try to ink up. So what I really needed to do was lay them down and just kind of, you know, roughly go around the edges. It's really not too late to do that, but with the threads, I'm not going to get a good coverage around there. Like I said, nobody will notice once this is together. I may take a brown marker or even a brown colored pencil and outline these to give them a little more definition. Not sure yet. There's possibilities. And inking these threads up might make all the difference in the world. I mean, we might like, that is just enough, you know. It didn't matter that I didn't ink around them. And some of these pages are already colored kind of like that. And it was just from the coffee dyeing process, I think, that made it do that. But look how this one looked. I mean, that's really grungy around there. You know, and so some of them did that. You know what? I could also take some glue and add a little glue, or just take my ink pad. This is a thought. I'll take my little ink pad, put a little color down, and take my wet paintbrush. I don't have a wet one, but I can show you what I'm talking about. You know, wet my paint. I do have water. That'll work. Let's just spray the color. All right. Well, that's not good and firm. I need to take that down just a little bit. You know, maybe that's the plan there. If I don't like it, I can cover it up, right? Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm crazy about that, but this brush is really, it's not a stiff brush, so this probably wasn't the right brush to use for this either, but let's see, what do we think? Not too bad. Now remember, this is Distress ink, so it's meant to move with water. So let me just go and wipe it down just a little bit. Oh, that looks a little better, doesn't it? Yeah, so that might be the plan. Yeah, so I'll play with that a little bit more with the stiffer brush, you know, and then decide. But yeah, that looks a whole lot better. Definitely gives some definition. So there's so many possibilities. With these, I haven't inked these up yet, and I definitely need to ink around all of my pieces because I have not done that yet. And even when I get these done, I will probably ink around them, especially since they're not the same size as my pages. Of course, I'll decide that. But tomorrow, you're going to start seeing some things really come together. And although I said, you know, I'm going to decorate or, you know, put them together and that y'all are actually going to see them decorated, I may not completely finish decorating them online simply because, you know, there are some things that you just don't need to see being done over and over and over and over again. And so that's why we will probably get to a certain point. We'll get, you know, some embellishments put on. We'll, you know, make some decisions. But then probably off camera, I'll go back in and do, you know, just the tedious little stuff, inking, you know, if I need to sew around something, you know, if I need to add a tea bag to something, I might show y'all that one time so that, you know, for the people who haven't ever seen that technique done, to see how it works and how easy it is and that it changes things. Another thing I wanted to show y'all in case you had never seen it, and let me see what piece I would want. Well, I could use this piece, or I could use this piece, any of these, you know, and to actually put wax on here, melt it, and it will make this translucent like a piece of vellum. Speaking of vellum, I do have some decorative vellum I could use in here too. So anyway, think about what y'all want to use to put these together, and tomorrow, that's where we're headed with this. So I know it doesn't look like we accomplished much today, but again, this is the more little tedious stuff that I kind of do off camera. Y'all don't want to watch me go through, you know, all these envelopes full of fussy cut pieces, you know, to pick out pieces. You would rather see the ones that I kind of pre-picked out, you know, rather than seeing all the other stuff with it. And again, you know, the envelopes, you know, I wanted to do one or two actually, so that I could just show you and not spend a whole lot of time, you know, making them one after the other. You know, I showed you how to make these, whether you do with the small flap or the larger flap like I did with the other one. You could even make various ones, you know, however you decide to do them. But you don't need to see me do this more than one time. I mean, it's the same fold as, you know, I did each time. It was just I made this fold different, and that made that a longer one. But always leave some room between here and your fold up here so that you can get things in and out. If it's real close like this one is, cut you out a little thumb hole. Now, I would have to be careful cutting out a thumb hole here because this flap is not very big. So I would want to be real careful and just either with my scissors do it, put something round. That'd be a little bit too big. That's a little bit too big. I could find something smaller. Oh, here we go, this little cap. I could put that on there, trace around it, and then, you know, cut that out. And then I would have a smaller thumb hole, you know, that this flap would still cover. So now, and the reason I don't want to refold a piece once I have it folded is because then I have these weak points. Everywhere there's a fold, that will make that weak, and it won't be a straight, like if I were to fold this here right now, this would forever be kind of flimsy. So I don't want to do that. If I don't like this, I'll either use it in another project, or I will cut this off and use it as a pocket like this, you know. So don't throw your pieces out. And if I were to cut this off, let's say I cut this off, I would save this and then make a ruffle out of it. So, I mean, there's so much that we can do with stuff. Okay, so I'm excited to see y'all back here tomorrow to get some of this stuff put together. I'll try to remember to well, I've got tea bags right up there. Bring a tea bag in to show y'all how to change the look of a piece. You know, how I plan maybe to ink some of this stuff up. I'm not sure. That car looks a little bit too modern for me, so I don't think that's going to work. I do want to pull out some of those little metal embellishments that I told you that I had to bring in to see if I want to use those. I may just use those, you know, on the front or as a hang-off piece of some sort. I don't want to get frilly with any dangles. But I don't mind some dangles as long as we connect them with maybe some jute twine or, you know, little pieces of leather or, you know, some shoelace, something that's not real feminine. So, you know, be thinking about things like that too. Start thinking about what kind of closures that you want to use on your journal, whether you want to use maybe some sari silk. Do you want to, you know, use, you know, belly, but well, on this you can't really use a belly band. Do you want to use eyelets? Do you want to wrap twine around it? You know, think about what kind of closure that you might want on your journals. Of course, your closure on this one will look very much different than it will on the not so frilly one. So I'll just kind of think about it, decide kind of what you want to do, and tomorrow we are going to get straight into it. So I'm really excited that y'all are going to help me get these to come together. Okay, y'all, I do have some new subscribers. Thank you so much for being here. We are so glad to have you. For all my regular old subscribers, y'all aren't regular or old, but the ones that have been with me, thank you for sticking with me, for supporting me. I love every single one of you. I appreciate y'all. I'm so honored to have you all. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider hitting the subscribe button, and then everybody go over and hit that notification bell, and it'll, you know, pop up a little thing, and just hit the one that's, you know, all colored in. That way you'll be notified every time I upload a video. Please give me a like, and if you would, please leave me a comment. I'd appreciate that. It really does encourage me. It helps me out. So, you know, please, you know, y'all think about that. Look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Y'all be blessed. Blessing and hugs to everybody. Bye.